Okay, number 3. We have Hannah, Omar, and Tasneem. Also vocab. Let's find each word and find the connotation for each one of them. Cited in, neutral. Apprised of, to tell, neutral. Unsympathetic to, negative. Placated by, mollify, to relax somebody, positive. The problem that I have two neutral. So whenever we have neutral, we're going to go to the context clue. Here he said, driver who strongly believe that the toll they must pay, the tax, to use the San Luis Pass Vacac toll bridge, which span the San Luis Pass in Texas, is currently too high. This kind of tax is too high. Are likely to be what? Arguments for increasing the toll. I don't get it. So read more. Maybe you're going to get the information from the context clue. Advocates for a higher toll. People are asking for, or advocates are asking for more taxes to be paid. Are likely to have more success. They're going to be successful if they instead direct their arguments toward a more persuadable segment of the population. So they're going to be successful if they talk something useful for the people. So that kind of tag that they need to be increased, they are not with. I'm not going to bring positive because they just give them an advice in the last sentence that is better for them to be successful, to look for the sake of people. Find something that actually more persuadable for the population. So it's going to be negative. So unsympathetic too. Clear, Hannah?
Yes.
Clear, Omar?
Yes.
Clear, Tasneem?
Yes.
Okay. Number 4, also vocab. We have number 4 with Omar and Tasneem. Let's find. Bestowed on means apply, neutral. Wrote by. Do you know that they're the past and past participle of work? Do you believe that? It's in the past and past participle for work. And instead of right word, it's going to be wrote by. So also it's going to be neutral. Allocated to, neutral. Concealed from, neutral. So like that, I'm going to go to the context clue again. He said, though, contradiction. Though few critics consider Vasily Grossman's novel, Stalingrad, this is unessential, which focuses on the experience of the Soviet Union in the early years of World War II, to be as well written as his later book, Everything Flows. Some compliment it, something give appraisal for it, something like some love it. Despite the damage, Soviet censors. Censors here means official. People that they are working in the government. Who that one? Gary Sol Morrison in the New York Review of Books called the novel remarkably bold. So it's applied by, no, it's not apply. Actually, allocated to, no, it's not allocated to them. They are the ones that work with to make it bold, or they start saying that it's bold, despite that people like it. Hide from, it's not hide from because he mentioned here. He gave us one of the Soviet censors, one of the Soviet officials. So it's going to be wrote by, worked by Soviet censor that they wrote about it, that it's remarkably bold because he gave one of those people. So the answer is B. Clear, Omar?
Yes.
Clear, Tasneem?
Yes.
Okay. Number 5 is not with anybody. It's in the main purpose. Let's look at number 6. Number 6 with Aya, with Hannah, with Omar, and with Tasneem. Whenever we answer a question related to the main purpose, and we said that our technique is something unique. You have to use it. But take care, because I told you in level 3, as we mentioned, you can read the first sentence and last sentence. But some choices are going to be accepted. So maybe we're going to find 2 or 3 choices are accepted. What you're going to do in that case, read the whole text. Let's find. Carl, I'm going to read now the first sentence and the last sentence. Carl, Polanyi, and other historian of capitalism rarely means nothing, none, discuss domestic capitalism in Africa. So they never or a little discuss capitalism in Africa. When? Before the period of European colonization, before Europe colonized Africa, implicitly presenting capitalism as external to and imposed on Africa. Because after that, they start talking about capitalism because this a kind of impact of the European colonization. Let's look at down. One reason for this discrepancy, disagreement, is that historians, the people that they wrote, the historian in the new era of capitalism, tend to focus on longitudinal economic data drawn from archival records, which don't exist for much of pre-colonial Africa. So even the historian, when they wrote about that Karl Popper and other historians, those other people, why they didn't write about capitalism before the European colonization? Because actually, we don't have records that they wrote about things before or pre-colonial Africa. So there is a problem, and they want to give what the cause of this problem. Let's look at A. To explain why historian of capitalism and Africanist scholars, we didn't talk about Africanist here, we don't mention, we talk about historian, disagree about which activity are feature of capitalism. They're not talking about the activities, so from the beginning it's not. To present an account for a potentially misleading, yes, there is misleading, and we start saying what caused this kind of misleading. Characteristics of the work of historian of capitalism, yes, because they depend on archival records that they didn't mention anything before the European colonization. Yes, that's the answer. To describe and evaluate a method used by Africanist scholars, we didn't talk about them in the first and last sentence, that distinguishes their work from that of historian of capitalism. We didn't compare the Africanist scholars to the historian of capitalism. So it's wrong. To summarize a debate between historian of capitalism and Africanist scholars about how to interpret longitudinal economic data from archival records, we didn't talk about any kind of debate. We talk about that. Those people, they didn't discuss any capitalism before the European colonization, and this because they depend on records that they didn't mention anything related to pre-colonial Africa. So the answer is B. Clear, Aya?
Yes.
Hannah?
Yes.
Omar?
Yes.
Tasneem?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to number 7. And number 7 is the main purpose, the same style. And with Aya, only Aya. Again, Aya. Whenever we ask about the main purpose for a sentence or last sentence, forget about the introduction. But if you miss between more than one answer, you're going to read the whole text. Okay, let's find. I am, the narrator, by no means sure that if the good people of Melby had known the truth about the Countess Szydlerski, they would not have been considerably disappointed to find that it was very far from being as bad as they imagined. So it's a kind of advice for those people that if they actually known the truth about her, they will not consider her as bad as they imagine. The last sentence. It's so much easier to make up your mind. There's a kind of an advice. It's so much easier to make up your mind that your neighbor is good. Yeah. عندنا كده بنقول ايه؟ اتخذ لأخيك 70 عذرا. Okay? So it's the same thing. So it's better to imagine that your neighbor, imagine your friend, imagine your classmate, imagine your teacher, imagine a pedestrian, that he is good. It's better to imagine that he's bad. So it's so much easier to make up your mind that your neighbor is good for nothing than to enter into all the circumstances that would oblige you to modify the opinion. Because if you consider your neighbor is bad, and then you want to modify your opinion that is good, you want a lot of reasons. You want a lot of causes. But it's better to say that is good until you made something bad. Okay. So to offer commentary on a human fault that may account for why the people of Melibai view the Countess Cyrilliski as they do, yes. Because of that, they give a commentary at the end, an advice. As a kind of foible, most of the people that that they consider anybody bad and it's better to consider good, and then you can't change your mind. To speculate on the circumstances under which the unfavorable opinion of the Countess Cyrilliski that is held by the people of Melibai could be improved. We didn't talk about the circumstances and how they are going to improve their opinion. It's just a kind of advice, commentary. To explain why the people of Melibai are somewhat correct to reproach the Countess Cyrilliski for her misdeeds, she didn't make anything. And even he said that it's not bad as they imagine. So it's not. To engage the reader's compassion for both the Countess Cyrilliski and the people of Melibai by detailing their different viewpoints. We didn't talk about different viewpoints. We're talking about something that they did it as a mistake, that they criticize someone as bad without actually entering to the circumstances. So the answer is A. Clear, Aya?
Yes.
Number 8 is a detailed question. And number 8 with Tasneem. It's a detailed question. In the detailed question, it looks like reading comprehension exactly. Reading comprehension exactly. So what you have to do, you have to read the whole text, but find actually the question asked about what? He said based on the text, what most likely motivates Taya, Anna's behavior during Salem's Salem? Okay, what motivates her behavior during the Salem for Salem? Okay, let's find. The following text from Julia Alvarez 2000 novel In the Name of Salem. Salem, a poet, is hosting guests in the front parlor of the family home. And Ramona is her sister. Who's Taya? We don't know till now. A salon is a social gathering for the exploration of intellectual ideas. It was evening when the two men got up to leave. Taya, Anna. Taya, Anna. Okay, so now we know. Now we know. Okay, Ramona is her sister. Here's Taya. This is the original that we want. Taya is here. Now we need to know what motivates her to do this kind of action or this behavior. Taya Anna had already come into the room several times. Ah, it's here. So this is a behavior. Why? To see if these guests had departed yet. But again, what motivates her to do that? What motivates her to come many times to the parlor? The front parlor had always been her special province, as she used it for her little school. Thank you. So because of that, she came many times. So the behavior that motivates her, that this place actually is a kind of little school for her. Now, every evening, it turned into salad, as Ramona called it, and it was never in order for its transformation back to a classroom the following morning. Okay. She is frustrated because she needs assistance elsewhere in the house, but Salon is unavailable while entertaining the guests. No. She is anxious for the gathering to disperse to leave so that she can ready the space for her own needs. Yes, she wants them to leave. Why? To prepare for her classroom, to prepare for her school. She is impatient to share her plans to start a new school with the guests and hope they will support her. No, she wants them to leave. She wants them to leave to prepare the place. She finds the guests to be dull and is eager to find a way to leave the salon. No, she never sit with them. She only come many times to be sure that they left to prepare for the school in the next morning. So the answer is B. Clear, Tasneem?
Yes.
Number 9, we have Aya. Only Aya. Okay. Here also is a detailed question, but with a kind of new question. He said, which she claimed does the text make about the demand for petroleum? This is what we want to search for. Also, I'm going to read the whole thing to find out. Companies involved in petroleum extraction include drilling equipment among their assets. But petroleum extraction is a very carbon intensive industry. We know that it's something related to carbon. So as social attitudes increasingly favor using less carbon intensive sources of energy. So because the social attitudes, they want to limit, they want to decline using of petroleum substances. Demand is here for petroleum falls, decline, and the drilling equipment will eventually or even suddenly become a liability as reduced petroleum prices. Those tools actually they're not going to be used because the people they will not be actually want or they don't actually want to extract petroleum. Become a liability as reduced petroleum prices make it more difficult to recover the expense of maintaining such equipment. So companies involved in petroleum extraction are not affected by the demand for petroleum. No, they will be affected because they were gonna have equipment actually that they don't have money to pay for or to maintain them. The societal preferences, yes, it's social attitude. For low carbon energy, yes, they want to reduce using petroleum sources is a factor in the demand for petroleum. That right? The demand for petroleum follows a predictable annual cycle. We didn't talk about annual cycle or prediction. Companies involved in petroleum extraction can benefit from a decline in the demand for petroleum. How they're going to be benefit? We said that the tool that they have, they need more expenses to be maintained, that they will not be actually be supported by the companies. So the answer is B. Clear, Hannah? Clear, A, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Number 10, also a detailed question. It's with Tasneem. According to the text, which trade do researchers think may contribute to a flat-headed cat's ability to purr? I need a trait that causes the flat-headed cats to purr. Why do flat-headed cats purr but jaguars roar? Researchers hypothesize that this difference between the two feline species may be partly due a U-shaped bone. Yes, this is the answer that I want. A U-shaped bone in their throat called the hyoid. This is what caused the cat to purr. Flat-headed cats, which are much smaller than jaguars, have a rigid hyoid that rumbles when the cat's larynx vibrates, resulting in a purr. Yeah, the answer. By contrast, jaguars have a somewhat flexible hyoid, and the bone is attached to the skull with a stretchy ligament that the flat-headed cats lack. These traits allow jaguars and most other species of big cats produce powerful roars The same traits may also prevent most big cats from purring. Yes, so we know now that the hyoid is the one that make the small cats or the flat-headed cats purr. So the shape of the flat-headed cat's larynx? No, it's not the larynx, it's the hyoid. The ligament attaching the hyoid bone to the flat-headed cat's skull? No, they don't have, because actually the hyoid in there, it's something, he said what here? Rigid. It's not flexible. Rigid. It's not flexible. If it has a ligament, mean that it's flexible. The flat-headed cat's rigid. Hyoid bone, yes. It's mentioned here. A rigid hyoid. The relative size of the flat-headed cat's body and throat, no. So the answer is C. Clear, Tasneem?
Yes.
I think number 11 was the easiest question. No one got it as a mistake. Number 12. I have Yusuf Asakir. Only Yusuf Asakir. A literary evidence. Yusuf. Which quotation from The Age of Innocence best illustrate the claim? You have to search for the word claim. If you can't find the claim, forget about the introduction and look what come after the first sentence here. And it's easy, wallah, Yusuf. In the novel, Newland Archer attends an opera. There is a man. His name is Newland, attends an opera. In the audience is May Wayland. Okay. With whom he is romantically involved. He loves her. He loves her. Newland visualize, imagine, the details of the future with May. So they are in opera, both of them, Newland and May. And Newland, we know here that he gives us information that he loves May. So he starts visualizing, imagining what will happen in the future with her. Okay. May dropped her eyes to the immense bucket of lilies of the valley on her knee. And Newland Archer saw her white gloved fingertips touch the flower softly. I'm sorry. There is no imagination here. He's describing a situation that happened. No. Newland Archer, leaning against the wall at the back of the club box, where his seat was, turned his eyes from the stage and scanned the opposite side of the house, where the relation between him and May. Though there was already talk of a new opera house which should compete in coastlines and splendor with those of the great European capitals, the word of fashion was still content to reassemble every winter in the shabby red and gold boxes of the sociable Old Academy of Music. Nothing indicates here a kind of visualization of love or something show affection. D. Already Newland's imagination, visualizing. Imagination, Yusuf. Leaping ahead of the engagement ring. He imagined the engagement ring. The betrothal kiss and the wedding march from Longren pictured May at his side. Yes, he's picturing that he's going to marry her. He pictured the wedding party ceremony. Clear, Yusuf? Yusuf Asakir?
Yes, Mr. Clear.
Okay. Number 13. It's scientific evidence. آية. Only آية. Okay. He said which find if true would most directly support. We need to support آية. We need to support. Support what? The second research team hypothesis. Search for the word hypothesize here. Hypothesizes here. So I want to support this. A second research team had therefore hypothesized that a low visibility, I wrote it here, low visibility condition, intermediate headed fish, I wrote it here, intermediate headed fish, will be more likely than wide headed fish to detect obstruction. So this one will detect obstruction than the wide-headed. That create large vortex. Large vortex. Okay. I need now something to support that the intermediate will be better than the wide-headed in detection for the obstruction. Let's find here. A study using obstructions, okay, that created large vortex, okay, and low visibility condition. This is what we want. Found that the devil catfish is what? Which has a relatively wide head, okay, wide head that is less, bumped into more than half of the obstruction. But I need comparison between wide head and intermediate head. I want comparison between wide head and intermediate head. Here only he just mentioned a situation that happened. No. A study using obstructions, okay, that created a large vortex, okay, and low visibility, okay, condition, found that the wide-headed, okay, devil catfish bumped into obstruction more often than the intermediate-headed rainbow trout did. So this bumped more. Why? Why? Because it less detection for the obstruction. Less detection, so it will pump more. This will pump less. This will pump more. This will pump less. Yes, that right. This support what we said. That this will actually avoid obstruction more than this. So this will hit the obstruction more than this. A study using obstruction that created large vortex in low visibility condition found that the intermediate headed rainbow, okay, trout bumped into the obstruction just as often as the white-headed. No, they are not the same. They are not the same. This will be less. So this is wrong. A study using obstruction that created large vortex in low visibility condition found that some specimens of intermediate headed, okay, rainbow trout bumped into the obstruction more often than the specimen of the same fish did. I'm not comparing it to the same. I'm not comparing it to itself. I'm comparing it to the white-headed. So this is not the answer also. So the answer is B. Clear, Aya?
Yes.
Number 14. I don't know who got it wrong. بسملة. حرام يا بسملة. حرام. Okay. Here one of the easiest.
عاملاها سي.
نعم.
أنا عاملاها سي.
وانا كبرت في السن مش قوي يعني.
والله العظيم.
خلينا ابص عليها. السن بقى يا بنتي انت عارفه. عاملاها امتى سي انت؟ في اول الامتحان؟
في الفايل الأساسي.
نعتذر ليك. نعتذر ليك. استاذك عيني راحت خلاص. طيب هشرحها برضه هشرحها. قبل الاعتذار ولا لا؟
قبلها طبعا.
طيب خلينا نشوف برضه هنشرحها مفيش مشكلة. بيقول in a paper this one of the actually the easiest level 1. He want to complete the example. So look at the example. He said in a paper for a social studies class, a student nonetheless note that countries with very large population, very large population, this one that is called Mali, okay, very large population, may be less densely populated. So I'm talking about here and here. And I bring one of the very large population. Let's continue. Then are countries with much smaller population. Which one is the smaller? Here. So I'm going to look at these two countries. Lesotho and Mali. So here he mentions Zambia. Zambia, which has a low density. It's not low actually. With Benin, which has a similar destiny. No, they are different. This is wrong information. They are not similar. Wrong information. The geographic size of Mali. Okay, this is one of the things. But we're not talking about the area. I didn't mention the area. I don't need the area. I need the population and density. Mali, which has a high population of 17,600,000 inhabitants and a relatively low density of 14.2, yes, inhabitants. Now I need the smaller square inhabitants per square kilometer. With Lesotho, which has a much lower population and a higher density. Yes, yes. So this is the right answer. The population of both Lesotho and Benin in 2015 with their population in 2010. I'm sorry, I'm talking about 2015 only. From where you bring 2010? Let's go to 15. 15 with Hannah. Only with Hannah. Okay. Inference question, Hannah. Inference question. How we answer inference question? You look at the last sentence. If you find a terminology that you don't know, or if you find a vague pronoun, or if you find a transition, you take a sentence before, and you're going to do that till you understand the whole set. Okay, let's find here. We're at the beginning here. He said, it's important to note, however, however, it's transition, so we need to take a sentence before. Among studies, so he mentioned one of the studies, so take a sentence before, so this level 3, level 2 or level 3. Let's find. Humans have a very strong bias. We said that before, Hannah, that bias جاي من كلمة bias. Bias. So humans have a very strong bias toward right-handedness. تلاقي كده ان شاء الله اما ربنا يكرمكم كده بولاد، اول ما ابنك يبدا يمسك الشمال ويكتب بايده الشمال تعملي مناحه او يعمل مناحه. Why? Because we have a strong bias toward right-handedness. الناس اللي بتكتب باليمين، كلنا بنكتب باليمين، لازم نكتب باليمين. With approximately 85 to 90% having right at their dominant hand. And this bias among studies of non-human primates, we're talking about animals. James Wallace 1976 study of captive means what? The domesticated, the captured، الحاجات اللي احنا مسكناها وحطيناها معانا في البيت او في الحديقة. Chimpanzees and catarrhine monkeys reported more right-handed individuals than left-handed ones. يعني حتى الحاجات اللي احنا مسكناها خليناها برضو right-handed not left-handed. But William C. Makogru and colleagues 1999 study of wild chimpanzees، هنا بقى الاخر دوت study wild not the captivated، مش الممسوكين. ذاكر بقى يا عمل study for the animals that they are in the wilderness. And colleagues study of wild chimpanzees didn't find a tendency toward right-handedness. They found that they are using left or they're using right. So they don't have a tendency to use the right hand. It's important to note, however, the captive animal, which captive? That we captured them, that they live with us, that we insist on them, that they have to use the right hand. The captive animals spend significantly more time with humans than wild animals do, and therefore, okay, let's find the apparent difference between the two studies result may partly attributable to the 1976 study using a different standard to determine handedness than the 1999 study did. We didn't talk about different standard that they use. They only make a study on captivated animals. The other one make study on wild animals to know they are using which hand. The right-handedness exhibited by the captive chimpanzees and catarrhine monkeys might be in part an effect of extended contact with humans. قاعدين مع الناس، شاربين اكلين مع الناس، واحنا عندنا bias toward right-handedness. لو مش حد بيستخدم ايده اليمين تلاقي مامته بتضربه، اكتب ايدك اليمين، اكتب ايدك اليمين. So because of that, the captivated one, they're going to use the right hand. The number of individuals in the study of captive chimpanzees and catarrhine monkeys is likely too small to support the claim that the species tends toward right-handedness. We didn't talk about the number. It wasn't mentioned. How many number or how many captivated animal they made the study on. The number of individuals in the study of wild chimpanzees is probably too small to support the claim that no tendency toward right-handedness was found in that population. Again, we didn't talk about the number, so the answer is B. Clear, Hannah?
Yes.
16 with Isra, with Yusuf Suwailam. Only Isra and Yusuf Suwailam. Okay. Grammar. Grammar. Again, here he doesn't talk about punctuation. What is the rule here? He's talking about possessive. Possessive. Let's find. The emulsifiers used by, okay. Here we have like, and like here is a preposition. And Dr. Tamer told us, if you find a preposition, so the word before it will not have apostrophe S or S apostrophe. So thank you. Cancel B because this is wrong. And cancel D because this is wrong. Now we want to decide, is cosmetic a noun or an adjective? Because if it's an adjective, we can put apostrophe S or S apostrophe to adjectives. It's an adjective. It's an adjective. Cosmetic chemists. It's an adjective. Chemist is a noun, but this is an adjective. So we don't need apostrophe. So the answer is A. Clear, Isra?
Yes.
Clear, Yusuf Suwailam?
Yes.
Number 17, I don't think that anybody got it wrong. Number 18. ده نمبر 18 دي كان في ناس قبل ما تعمل الهوم ورك كانت عامله بلاوي. كان في ناس حاطه لي فول ستوب. الله يسامحكم. الله يسامحكم. كل اللي حط فول ستوب ده هدعي ليه النهارده. هدعي ليه طبعا مش هدعي عليه. طبعا كلكم غيرتوها تقريبا ولا ايه؟ الناس بعد ما قعدت مع نفسها كده قالت ايه؟ مين اللي حط فول ستوب؟ انا بس عاوز اقول لكم حاجه عشان الناس اللي بتحل معايا وبتستخدم الاي اي هزعل منها جدا. لان السؤال ده اما بتحطه على الاي اي بيديك ان هي بفول ستوب. شوف بقى الهيومن اذكى من الاي اي. الهيومن اذكى من الاي اي. ازاي نحط فول ستوب؟ ازاي؟ انا مش بشك فيكم. بس the first answer for most of you كانت محطوط فيها فول ستوب وده اللي زعلني. فقلت هجرب الاي اي كده احط الكويستشن عليه فراح مديني ان الانسر بي. رحت قلت له والله كده you are stupid. You are stupid. The answer is C because you can separate the subject from the verb. لو انا حطيت فول ستوب اهو هعملها زي ما انتوا بتقولوا هحط فول ستوب. Her portrait of novelist زادي سميث. فين الفيرب؟ فين الفيرب عشان تبقى full sentence؟ ما we have characteristic for the full sentence. Subject, verb, ending mark. عندي subject. شكرا يا اي اي. كده قلت له كده. عندي subject يا اي اي. فين الفيرب؟ لو انت نهيت لي عند سميث فين الفيرب؟ الفيرب اهو. الفيرب يا عيني قاعد حزين اهو. رحنا احنا عملنا ايه؟ رحنا احنا حطينا له فول ستوب. ده ولا فول ستوب ولا كولن تنفع. The full stop and the colon are completely wrong. The full stop and the colon are completely wrong. Because the colon in the sentence, and you know that. The full stop in the sentence. طب can we put dash? Yes. But after the subject dash, before the verb dash. After the subject dash, before the verb dash. This doesn't happen here. So the answer is C. طبعا انتوا رجعتوا في حلكم بعد كده. بس الناس اللي زعلتني اللي انا حطيتها على الاي اي when I put it in AI it give me this and most of you write this. I'm not suspecting you. I don't have any doubt. I do believe in all of you. But please, please don't depend on AI even in any kind of homework. Except you are doing a research, you are just having a kind of thing that is controlled. Controlled. Number 19. we have Basmala, Ali. اوكي بسملة and علي. برضو الاي اي عملها لي اتس. الاي اي عملها لي اتس دي. قعدت اشتمه برضو. The AI did it its, so I start abusing it. وسميته سناء. الاي اي. According to constitutional scholar George Tispoli, this is a prepositional phrase who examines the implication of constitutional length of civil rights. This is a relative clause. يبقى عندنا هنا prepositional phrase. عندنا هنا relative clause اللي هي dependent. Can the prepositional phrase stand alone? لا. No. Can the dependent stand alone? No. Can the prepositional phrase and the dependent clause stand alone? No. احنا عاوزين independent. لازم independent. It's a must that we must have independent. Without the independent, we have something called fragment. No meaning. Can't stand alone. Complete. Okay. Now I have here something 102nd in a global ranking of the shortest constitution. Okay, this must be the independent, I'm sorry. And you know that the independent must have subject and verb. So thank you. Cancel anything that doesn't have subject and verb. So I'm gonna cancel this and cancel this. يا AI يا وحش. يا AI يا وحش. Now I have the R plural. It is singular. Now I want to be sure that they are talking about what? So I have to read up to find that the constitution. They are talking about constitution. So it is. Clear Basmala?
Yes.
Clear Ali?
Yes.
Number 20 برضو الاي اي الوحش ادهاني دي عشان تعرف بس الاي اي انا بقول لكم هو دايركت تعرفوا الاي اي ضحك على العقول. It's just collecting kind of information from human, whether it's biased, whether it's not. Even whenever you're gonna give him a question, he's gonna tell you down that if you want to revise it, tell me. Because he's not sure about his answer. إلا الثوابت طبعا. الثوابت okay. Something that facts okay. Okay, let's find here. This is boundaries. I'm gonna take the sentence and I'm gonna write the words without any punctuation. Okay, relatively few of these particles are likely to reach Earth surface. Wait, this independent. It has subject and verb. Few are, so this independent. Complete. However, forget about however. Since a subordinate conjunction, a subordinate conjunction, a subordinate conjunction, since the meteoroids compression of the air, okay, the subject of the dependent of the earth surrounding them causes the verb the vast majority to burn up in the mesosphere, producing this modifier, producing the June potent meteor shower. Okay, now I have independent, then dependent of independent. Dr. Tamer told us if you have independent, then dependent, don't put anything between them. But I have, however, just wait. However is a transition word. And the transition words must have a kind of comma after it. So, and we don't need commas here, so you can put comma before it and after it. Done. Can I put a colon? Can I put a colon? Like this is gonna be explanation. Then semicolon. طب why the semicolon? Wrong. Can I put a full stop? Can this stand alone? ده بعديها dependent. Dependent can't stand alone. Can I put semicolon and also the dependent will stand alone? No. So the answer is B. Clear?
Yes, mister, but when do I know if it's A?
If it's A, if there is another independent after. But here after is dependent, not independent.
Oh, okay.
Clear, Isra?
Yes.
Clear, Limar?
Yes.
Clear, Tasneem?
Yes.
21. Again, when I give it to the AI, he told me first, however. Let's find. خلينا نشوف ال AI بتاعكم ده. A sentence before. This is transition. This is transition. So I must find the function of each word at that time sequence. For example, exemplification. In other words, rephrasing. Sum up. However, contradiction. هو قال لي contradiction. نركز بقى. Since before and sentence after. While most animals prefer the safety of nighttime migration, many poisonous amphibians, a category that include the red-billed newt and the fire salamander, safely engage in migratory behavior during the day. Okay, then after that he said, with the sun in the sky. He talked about the day. The amphibians. Which amphibians? That they are poisonous. Here. That they love to travel during the day with the sun in the sky. The amphibian striking color patterns because they have bright colors. And there's actually a ticket in bio that is an indicator that they are poisonous. Color pattern deter visually oriented daytime predators by serving as a warning of toxicity. Okay. He rephrased it. Not at that time. Because if you said even at that time, mean you mention a special time that they travel in. And not here the stress on time. It's no contradiction. Because they prefer to travel during day. And here he start explaining us what happened. So rephrasing. There's no exemplification. Because it doesn't give any example here. The examples were here. So the answer is C. Clear, Aya?
Yes.
Clear, Hannah?
Yes.
Limar?
Yes.
Asakir?
Yes, mister.
Rimas?
Yes.
Swelam?
Yes.
بسملة؟
Yes.
ده ما شاء الله كله عنده غلطة دي. علي؟
Yes.
Afnan is not here. Tasneem?
Yes.
Okay. I think 22, no one got it as a mistake. 23. 23, we have Isra, Ali, Omar, Afnan. Consequently, cause and effect. Similarly, agreement. In some, summary. However, contradiction. Look at sentence before and sentence after. So this is not the sentence before because this is a compound sentence. It has semicolon. I'm going to take from here. He said box modeling. برضو ال AI عملها غلط دي. Box modeling used by digital artists to develop 3D assets for video games yields object with precise mathematical proportions. Perfect. So this kind of box modeling is perfect. They have precise mathematical proportions. Granted, as they are formed from perfect geometric shapes. Yes, we know that because they are perfect. They are precise mathematical proportion. Such 3D elements lack lack organic realism. They lack, okay? They have a kind of disadvantage. Then he said, after post-modeling processes such as a UV service mapping are needed to achieve the level of verisimilitude. I'm gonna read it right. Verisimilitude. Gamers expect means realism. We want now, there is a shortcomings that happen with the box modeling, and we want to fix it. We want to fix it to arrive to realism. To arrive that the people, when they are playing video games, they can see something real, not 3D only. So, consequently, to solve the disadvantages. Isra clear?
Yes.
Ali clear?
Yes.
Omar?
Yes.
Afnan? Afnan is not here, I'm sorry. Let's find the rest. The rest are rhetorical synthesis. Okay, do you see the question that I told you about? Here he brought the bullets without why researching a topic student has taken the following notes. He just bring the notes and he asked the question immediately. He want the similarity. And you know how to answer it. Find only the goal and start to answering it. Okay, let me send you the answer for this one and start a new sheet. Today is not a test. I've sent for you the annotation for this kind of test. I wish. Also, I'm going to send for you the recording. I wish that you're going to watch the recording, revise the mistake that you did. If you are using AI while you're solving with me, take care. I'm gonna just find out. Okay. We're gonna revise domain 3. We revised many times domain 1. We revised many times domain 4. I just intend because I found that there are a lot of mistakes in domain 3 that include the rhetorical synthesis and transition, especially the transition. So I just wrote a sheet for domain 3. I've shared with you. No one start answering. Just wait, please. Okay, number one, please. Write the answer for number one. Transition question. I got the answer from Yusuf Swilam. From Isra. From Aya. From Yusuf Asakir. From Basmala and Limar. From Rimes. From Omar. From Hannah and Tasneem. Where is Ali? Ali, waiting for your answer, Ali. It's easy, Ali. Okay, and from Ali. So I have only one that got this as a mistake. Let's find out. By contrast, as we said that we must determine the function of each one, contradiction. Consequently, cause and effect. Secondly, agreement, sequence. For example, exemplification. Let's find the relationship between what come before and what come after. The sentence that come before is not this, because this is a subject. The sentence is here. Although novels and poems are considered distinct literary forms, many authors have created hybrid works that incorporate elements of both distinct literary forms. Then he give us an example. It's easy now. One of the poems here. Bernardin Evaristo, the Emperor's Babe, is a verse novel, a book-length narrative complete with characters and a plot, but conveyed in short, crisp lines of poetry rather than prose. So it's an example. Clear, Omar?
Yes.
Let's go to number two. Write the answer for number two. I got the answer from Basmala. From Omar and Hannah. From Limar and Yusuf Suwalam. From Tasneem and Isra. From Aya and Ali. From Yusuf Asakir. Waiting for Rimes. Ah, I know that you are watching a movie now or watching a series.
No, I'm thinking of the answer.
Okay. If you are thinking, no problem. If you are watching something, no problem also. Okay. And from Remes, also we have only one that got this as a mistake. Let's find out. لازم الواحد ده لازم كل مرة واحد. Okay. In other words, rephrase. For instance, exemplification. By contrast, contradiction. Accordingly, cause and effect. Let's find a sentence before and the sentence after. At 2 weeks old, the time their critical socialization period begins. Wolves, he talk about wolves, can smell but cannot yet see or hear at 2 weeks. Then after that he said, domesticated dogs, huh? In the first sentence he talks about wolves, يا يوسف عساكر. After that he talk about the dogs. Can see, hear, and smell by the end of the 2 weeks. By contrast, contradiction, comparison. Clear يوسف عساكر?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. Let's go to number 3. Waiting for your answer. I got the answer from Basmala. From Omar. From Yusuf Asakir. From Aya. From Isra. From Ali. From Limar. From Yusuf Suwailam. Waiting for the rest. From Tasneem. Waiting for Rimas and Hannah. Rimas, from Rimas. Waiting for Hannah. From Hannah. المرة دي مردوش تزعلوني. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 got it as a mistake. Not 1, like every time. So let's find. Similarly, agreement. For this reason, cause and effect. Furthermore, addition. Increasingly, this is the first time to hear about it. So let's find out the sentences. If it's no agreement, if it's no cause and effect, if it's no addition, so it's going to be increasingly. So let's find sentence before and sentence after. He said here, researchers, don't forget, أنا بس في حاجة عاوز أركز عليها to focus on. When you have a title, then a name, no punctuation. So researcher Helena Miljvik Brandon, Lucia Santamaria, and Marco Tolini report that while mathematicians may have traditionally worked alone, evidence points to a shift in the opposite direction. So again, those kind of researchers, they report that while mathematicians may have traditionally worked alone, but there are evidence that actually points to a shift in the opposite direction. Let's find after. Mathematicians are choosing to collaborate with their peers. He insists on the information. So despite that we know that they work alone, but actually there are evidence that show the opposite, that they like cooperation with their peers. A trend illustrated by a rise in the number of mathematics publication credited to multiple authors. So it's no agreement. It's no agreement because here he changed the point of view of those researchers. There's no cause and effect. There's no addition. So here he is emphasizing the point that there are evidence. So this emphasize. Emphasize the point that there is a shift on that kind of direction, that they are not working alone. They love to work in groups. So the answer is D. Clear, Aya?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
Yusuf Suwilam?
Yes.
Tasneem?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to number 4. Rhetorical synthesis. It's easy. You know how to answer this kind of question without taking time. I got the answer from Omar. From Basmala. From Rimes. Limar and Isra. الله يرحمه يا عمر. الله يرحمه. يوسف عساكر. تسنيم.
أيسنت يا مستر والله.
لا انا بقول اللي انت بعت يعني.
الله يخليك.
ركز
أيوه.
معايا يا يوسف. ركز معايا يا يوسف. شكلك جعان يا يوسف.
كمان شوية بقى.
طيب. يوسف سويلم. Hannah and Ali. I wish that I'm not gonna find any mistake. آية. لا انتوا بقيتوا خلاص. Rhetorical synthesis, it's a kind of Play-Doh in your hands. Okay, no mistakes. Let's find out. What's our way to solve? This our special technique to look at the goal. If you find that there are two answers that can be accepted, you're gonna look at the bullets. But save your time. So here what he wants, he wants to present the study and its findings. So we have two goals. Present the study and its findings. Let's find out here. In 2021, Chance Me, Turan studied Petrosaur. Okay, did the study. Joe Bones and was initially unsure if the bones belong to juvenile or adults. But there is a study. But where are the findings? Nothing. Let's look at B. Petrosaur, Joe Bones, located in the Sahara Desert, where the focus of a 2021 study. Okay, here are the findings. But where is the study? So here, a study without findings. Here, findings without study. In a 2021 study, Chance-Me used advanced microscope techniques to analyze the jaw bones of petrosaurs, flying reptile that existed millions of years ago. Here is a study without finding. Look here now. In a 2022 study, okay, Chance-Me determined that petrosaurs finding jaw bones located in the Sahara Desert had few growth lines relative to the bones of fully grown petrosaurs and thus belong to juvenile. Okay, thank you. Here he mentioned the study and he mentioned the finding. So the answer is D, as you said. I'm not going to spend more than that with you. I know that the end of the day, but we have homework for tomorrow. No one leave, just wait to decide tomorrow time. From 5 till 11. Your homework from 5 till 11, till the end of the sheet. Tomorrow is Tuesday, is that right? مش حد بيرد ليه يا شباب؟
أيوة مستر تيوزداي.
أكيد. خلينا بس أوقف الريكوردينج.